Alright, so in this problem, I have 2 to the power of x plus y minus 2 to the power of x is equal to 120. So obviously, I want to find the values of both x and y for this. So for my solution, I'm going to first start by using the property of exponents that states that a to the power of m plus n, this is the same thing as a to the power of m times a to the power of n. Meaning 2 to the power of x plus y, I can rewrite this as 2 to the power of x times 2 to the power of y, and I have this minus 2 to the power of x is equal to 120. Now, I'm going to go ahead and factor out 2 to the power of x from this equation, from my left-hand side. So now I have 2 to the power of x times, now 2 to the power of x times 2 to the power of y divided by 2 to the power of x, simply just 2 to the power of y, and negative 2 to the power of x divided by 2 to the power of x is negative 1. So this is equal to 120. Now, 120, this is the same thing as eight times 15. And notice how 2 to the power of x, this is going to result in an even number because 2 to the power of any number is going to be even. And 2 to the power of y minus 1, well, an even number minus 1 is going to be an odd number. 2 to the power of y is going to be an even number, and an even number minus 1 is an odd number. So this is even, this is odd. And notice how 8, this is even, and 15, this is odd. So I have an even number times an odd number is equal to an even number times an odd number. So this means that both the even numbers are equal to each other. So 2 to the power of x is equal to 8. And both the odd numbers are equal to each other. So 2 to the power of y minus 1 is equal to 15. So let's first start by solving 2 to the power of x equals 8. So 8, this is the same thing as 2 to the power of 3. So now I have 2 to the power of x is equal to 2 to the power of 3. And this means that x is equal to 3. Now for 2 to the power of y minus 1, I can add 1 on both sides. So I get 2 to the power of y equals 16. 16 is 2 to the power of 4. So I have 2 to the power of y is equal to 2 to the power of 4. So this means that y equals 4. So my value of x is 3 and my value of y is 4. Alright guys, so in this problem, I have x minus 1 squared is equal to x squared. So to solve this, I actually have two different methods of solving this problem. So for method 1, I'm going to start by rewriting x minus 1 squared as x minus 1 times x minus 1. And I have this is equal to x squared. And now, x minus 1 times x minus 1, let's go ahead and expand this. So x times x is x squared. X times negative 1 is negative x. Now I'm going to distribute the negative 1. Negative 1 times x is negative x. And negative 1 times negative 1 is positive 1. So this is equal to x squared. Now I can subtract x squared on both sides. So then these two cancel out and these two cancel out. So now I have negative x minus x plus 1 is equal to 0. Now negative x minus x is negative 2x. So I have negative 2x plus 1 is equal to 0. Meaning now I can add 2x on both sides. So then these two cancel out and I get 2x is equal to 1. Meaning x is equal to 1/2. Now my second method for solving this problem if I have something in the form a squared minus b squared, this is equal to a plus b times a minus b. So our equation is x minus 1 squared is equal to x squared. So I can actually subtract x squared on both sides. So now I have x minus 1 squared minus x squared is equal to 0. And now notice how this is in the form a squared minus b squared. A is x minus 1 and b is x. So now I have x minus 1 plus x times x minus 1 minus x is equal to 0. So x minus 1 plus x, that's the same thing as 2x minus 1 times x and negative x, these two cancel out, so negative 1 is equal to 0. So now if I divide both sides by negative 1, these two cancel out, and I get 2x minus 1 is equal to 0, meaning 2x is equal to 1, and x is equal to 1/2. That's my second method. Alright, so in this problem, I have x to the power of x to the power of 3 is equal to 729. So for my solution, I obviously want to find the value of x. So I'm going to start by taking the power of 3 on both sides. So now I have x to the power of x to the power of 3 to the power of 3 is equal to 729 to the power of 3. Now, if I have something in the form a to the power of m to the power of n, this is equal to a to the power of m times n. And for a to the power of m times n, this is the same thing as a to the power of n times m. I can switch these two places. Meaning, if a to the power of m times n is equal to a to the power of m to the power of n, then a to the power of n times m, this is equal to a to the power of n to the power of m. So this means that a to the power of m to the power of n is equal to a to the power of n to the power of m. So right here we have x to the power of x to the power of 3 to the power of 3, and we can think of x to the power of 3 as m and 3 as n. So this is the same thing as x to the power of 3 to the power of x to the power of 3. And this is equal to 729 to the power of 3. Now, 729 is the same thing as 9 to the power of 3. So now I have x to the power of 3 to the power of x to the power of 3 is equal to 9 to the power of 3 to the power of 3. And remember again, if I have something in the form a to the power of m to the power of n, this is equal to a to the power of m times n. So 9 to the power of 3 to the power of 3, that's going to equal 9 to the power of 3 times 3, which is equal to 9 to the power of 9. So now I have x to the power of 3 to the power of x to the power of 3 is equal to 9 to the power of 9. And now if I have something in the form a to the power of a is equal to b to the power of b, this means that a is equal to b. So in this case, x to the power of 3 is equal to 9. Now to solve this, all I have to do is take the cube root on both sides. So now I have the cube root of x to the power of 3 is equal to the cube root of 9. And the cube root of x to the power of 3 is equal to x, so I have x is equal to the cube root of 9.